Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be checking out some more Pirate Warriors 3. Going to be playing some of the characters I mentioned that aren't in Pirate Warriors 4. And also going to be doing the Nightmare log this time, make it a bit more difficult. But there's actually more characters than I thought. We're playing Enel today, slash Enel, whatever you want to call them. But there's actually a lot more characters than I thought that are missing from this game. We don't have Garp, which I played last time. And then we don't have Perona, or Moria, or Caesar. We also don't have Kuma, which I totally forgot about. And then Magellan, and then Eneru, or Enel. And then we also don't have the pre-time skip, Nami, Robin, Frankie, Brooke, and Chopper, which is a really weird choice. I'm not sure how that happened, but it is nice to be able to actually go back and play some of these characters, because I forgot how fun some of them are. Because Enel's like one of my favorite characters to play, and also just a character I really liked from One Piece. He was one of the villains that was probably one of my favorite, partially just because I love electricity powers normally, and I like his design a lot. And for me personally, Skyland was one of the arcs that actually like really hooked me on One Piece and wanted me to like keep going and give it even more of a chance than I already was. I was liking it before then, but I found Alabasta to not be my favorite on the first watch. What I've seen of it now and like looking back on it, it's a lot better. And when I read the manga, I really enjoyed it. But I also enjoyed like every arc when I read through the manga to catch up. Which, just with reference, looking back, there's so many like things that Oda sets up. And once you're kind of more used to like the art style and the characters and whatnot of what Oda is doing with the One Piece, you just enjoy it a lot more, in my opinion. But I think the next video I do on Pirate Warriors 3, I'm going to do a Kuma video. Just because he's actually somewhat relevant to One Piece at the moment, with actually in the anime and manga now. We had him kind of breaking loose of his control and running off from whatever the island is called where the revolutionaries are at. Can't remember what the name of it is. I'm also recording this the day after we got the newest One Piece episode, which was 1099, and next episode is going to be 1100, which is really exciting, and honestly expecting really good things from it, because it'll be Luffy and Lucci's rematch. Technically, I think their third rematch, because they had two fights during Water 7 and Enies Lobby. But it would be really cool to actually see him, like, see with Luffy again, and also I think we'll see the crew actually seeing Gear 5 in, like, full effect. At least some of them. And just going to be a really exciting overall. Plus, the preview of the next episode looked good. And if the preview looks good, usually the episode will be really good, because usually they show off some of the less exciting things that are happening during that episode. It also really sucks being on break at the moment, but I think we have 1 or 2 more weeks to go, and then we'll be back with the manga. I'm just glad the anime is still going, so every week I still have something to look forward to One Piece. I also love this part of Pirate Warriors 3 where you do like the team up attacks. It is annoying that you can't skip the animations, because once you've seen them, like once you're playing with that team, it's kind of annoying having to sit through them every time, because like when you do a full like character list of like all your allies, get them all leveled up, it actually takes a bit of time to go through there. But it is cool, and I like how it mismatches like the names of attacks to like combo attacks and whatnot. You'll also notice on this Nightmare log mission, I'm actually not struggling, but you have to be a little bit more tactical than usual, because if you get caught in a couple of attacks, you can just get murked like almost immediately. But Enel is a really good character, so it's not too bad, because he has a mechanic where you'll see above like the gauge for our teammate, he builds up electricity meter, and then it alters some of his attacks. My favorite is the one that like spins out a dragon around you and does like a full AoE attack. But it's just a really cool mechanic, and I like characters that have like that can build up their gauges and whatnot for games and do like alternate attacks and whatnot. Plus his super attacks are really cool looking. His default one is like where he turns like the giant, which is almost, I don't know, it's weird that we've never seen anyone who's a Logia do that before since Enel. We haven't seen anyone like alter their body to make like a form, kind of. And then he has his like big lightning ball he can drop down, which is I'm pretty sure what he was trying to use to destroy the Sky Islands during that arc. Plus his moveset's just really cool with the golden staff attacks. That was one thing I always really loved about NL. During Skypiea, like there's the gag and like the meme shot of him like freaking out over Luffy being immune, but he immediately adapts and starts fighting with the golden staff and using it to like using his devil fruits to like heat up the staff to be able to attack Luffy. Plus the way he used mantra / observation hockey was really cool. And unless I'm misremembering it, he uses his devil fruit mixed with the mantra to be able to do it over an even bigger range. But it was a really cool time in One Piece in my opinion. And we also got that arc, we had one of the few moments where Robin actually had a fight with someone. It was basically a no-name character, but it's just cool whenever she actually gets a fight. And that was one of the things I liked about Wano a lot, is she got actually a really good power-up, good fight, and even during Egghead, she had that moment where she like used her giant form and tried to attack Jinbei, like the Jinbei clone as Shark, which was just a really cool moment. I'm also nearing death here, so I gotta be a little bit careful. But Robin was one of my favorite characters for a long time in One Piece, pretty much until we got Brooke and then Law show up. That was like my favorite character. So I was always kind of disappointed that she's not a fighter, because the non-fighter characters kind of get way less fights and like action scenes. She also could use her powers in very deadly ways, because she can essentially spawn her hands anywhere. So she could like spawn it in your like mouth or in your body or something and like fuck you up from the inside. And there's just so many cool applications of her powers she could do. I think if she had Hockey, she would be so broken, because she would be able to attack instantly on people and not have to worry about them dodging or anything, because she can literally spawn hands on the person to then attack. I think just one of the downsides of her Devil Fruit is that it doesn't like really alter her physical strength, and it allows her to be damaged when they get hit. It's funny though, because that's really similar to a character in Bleach, who I also really love a lot and is very underutilized, which is Captain Komamura. He was always one of my favorites, and then especially when I read the manga for the 1,000-Year Blood War, his big moment and like his like exit to the series, he's still technically alive, but not exactly. But that was always a moment I really loved. So I was a little bit sad when they had to CGI his giant, but it still did look really cool and is a badass moment. But he has a very similar weakness where his Bonkai, when attacked, can actually be like damage himself as well. So it's just interesting that both characters like that I like a lot were kind of underutilized in my opinion. Although Bleach is just even more of a struggle, because there's so many characters with all the captains, all of Ichigo's friends, all of the like alternate like factions that are in the world. There's just so many characters in Bleach that it's hard to give everyone a ton of moments. So I'm glad he at least got some over the series, and he was always just one of my favorites. But Bleach is a series where I have so many characters I absolutely love, and so many of the ones I like get totally shafted in the series. Like, when I was first watching Bleach, Shinji was one of my favorite characters, and he gets to do basically nothing in the series. That's why I was glad he got some moments in the anime that from the novel with his Bankai, and they kind of made his moment with Bambi much better. Although literally the next episode he just gets one shot, which is always rough. But like, I really liked the Visor group, and I thought they were gonna get a ton of showing, but they didn't get a whole lot. And then one of my favorite lieutenants, Hisagi, is like, honestly, could be up there with one of my favorite characters. But in the actual source material, he didn't get a ton to do, so I was really happy when he got his novel. And I'm kind of hoping they might use his Bankai, how they did with Shinji, like they put his novel one into the series. But I would also just like to see the novels adapted, because he's essentially the main character for one of them. And his Shikai ends up having a pretty cool ability. Then his Bankai is just really sick, and one of the more unique ones. Plus, a lot of the novel-only characters are really interesting, like a lot of the villains and whatnot, and the way they developed the story from the source material. It fixed a lot of things that were missing, especially in like the Thousand Year Blood War arc. Plus, the anime has already fixed like 2 or 3 major problems that we had with the arc. Although I still really liked it in the manga and the source material. And there's actually some things that like I liked in the source material that didn't get adapted quite how I would have preferred. But I think the way they're shifting away and everything that's going on is really good. Plus, having someone with like Kubo actually working on the anime project with them is very nice. Speaking of series getting like what they deserve, One Piece is getting the remake eventually. I imagine it probably won't be for a while, but that is super exciting as well. Although I do think the early One Piece holds up really well, and like, it's more like arcs like Dressrosa that needed some toning up because they were really slow. Plus, like, we could probably do without the filler in a series that long. But seeing however they do it will be interesting. Although I think some voice actors won't be returning, which will be kind of sad because they kind of make the anime great even with its problems. But I mean, more One Piece I'm not going to complain about. Even like the live action, which I didn't really like, I just don't mind existing because it's getting more people to check out One Piece, and it's better than most live actions. Although I haven't watched them fully, I've heard the Ronin Kenshin live actions are really good and do a good job of like adapting the story but in a new way. Because realistically, even if you're doing a live action adaptation and do it 1-to-1, it's just going to be a worse show, in my opinion, than the animated or manga version. Because manga and anime have such an aesthetic that can't be transferred over. So at that point, you're just making a worse product. So it is important to like change it up and add their own spin to it for the live action, while just keeping like the core heart of the series. Which I think they did okay. I definitely had my problems with it, but I generally just don't like live action stuff that much. So I still have respect for it, especially because Oda actually worked on it and put time into it, so it's not like the worst thing that's ever been made. But other than that, that'll be pretty much it for this video. Probably continue doing more characters in the upcoming weeks, but other than that, I'll catch you guys all later, and peace!